So I thought just from one standpoint that I'd end up touching on event management from a marketing perspective. I kind of got my start in marketing back in 1996 at the University of Southern Mississippi when I was doing my practicum to end up graduating. And my job was to literally go through all of the dorms on campus once a week and put Papa John's coupons attached with the upcoming Southern Miss sports schedule under the doors or hanging on the doors all over campus. And then went on, coached up in New York, but was the assistant athletic director for marketing at Portland State and ultimately the associate AD of marketing and sales. But during that time, event management from a marketing perspective, there's so many things to think of from pulling off a great event. Not the whole operational side of getting the game kicked off and the officials and when the visiting team arrives and things like that, but what it's like behind the scenes to put off a good event, because people will walk away and say, yeah, okay, the game was good, but boy, did they mess up those promotions, or those contests were lame. And you get that a whole bunch. So just want to show you some things that go into pulling off a game from the external side of the house, if you will. So what you're looking at in this slide is the football checklist. And this arrived after my first year at Portland State when we would take stuff over to PGE Park, which is where we played football, and for all of our marketing stuff for the games. And inevitably, every game, we will leave something back on campus. And so we created a checklist that started on Thursday of preparing stuff, and we would take all of this stuff over to the game and put it in its proper place on Friday so that we knew it would be there Saturday. A premium in marketing terms is what you're giving away that day. For this particular game, we were giving away 5,000 Thunder Sticks and 2,000 schedule magnets. It was the home opener. So, obviously, you see what we were giving away and a line. Once we had secured that, we simply made a check. We had to get the T-shirts. There were Cheerful Tortoise T-shirts, McKinsey Athletics T-shirts, Chipotle T-shirts. Those were all T-shirts that were given to us by sponsors that were to be given away and thrown into the stands at a certain time with a certain public announcement. And we'll get into a PA script in just a few minutes. But then you see the Les Schwab T-Kid of the game. We had a kid that was sponsored by Les Schwab tires. He would run out there, get the tee after every time somebody kicked off. You've seen that all over the country. But sometimes we actually forgot the T-shirt launcher and the slingshots and would have to try to throw them up into the stands. And that became a comedy of error. So anyway, I think you get the point of what I'm trying to say here. Think about everything that you're going to need from a marketing side, put it on a list, and make a checklist. Make sure that you have that stuff at the event. So this slide is a timesheet or a protocol sheet. And it's really a rundown of the most important things that are going to go on during the game. And I'm not going to run through a whole protocol sheet with you, but I will run through 3 slides of what a timesheet looks like. And this is given to all of your marketing staff before the game on that Thursday when you're collecting all of the stuff for the checklist. And so you end up going over this, but they also have their copy all through the game so that they know. And this is a countdown to kickoff. Pre-game, you need to be at PGE Park no later than 1 p.m. and enter through the gate on 18th Avenue. So anyway, then we go down to the first base dugout side because PGE Park is also a minor league baseball park, or it was at the time. Now it's where the Major League Soccer Portland Timbers play. So anyway, and then set up the fan stand and do a dry run of the promotions. That is a real key because you wouldn't believe how many times a promotion will mess up. But if you practice it on the field on game day, you can work out the kinks. So at 2 o'clock, the gates open. We need to find the Les Schwab T-Kid and other promotional participants, people who are interested in potentially winning prizes. So then you roll through things at 2:30. We get the kids' tunnel. In this particular game, it was senior day, so no kids were on the field. 2:45, had the Les Schwab T-Kid ready for kickoff. 2:52, be ready to escort the anthem singer out onto the field. After that, find the honorary captain. Brandon and Berger, go get the pizzas. That's another story. And so I think you understand the timesheet or protocol sheet by now, but I'm just going to run through this last slide quickly because this is how halftime went for this particular game. Right at halftime, we had the presentation of the game ball, and then we rolled right into the punt, pass, and kick promotion. And that took about 2.5 minutes. And it was time for the dance team to come out and do their special dance. Then we had a marching band, and then we had a fireworks show. Now, so you'll see up at the top that I said this is a tentative schedule. As soon as one is done, we roll right into the next one. And the reason this particular game, anytime that we had fireworks, it was a city ordinance that the fireworks had to be finished by a certain time. And there was a lot of smoke that was also on the field. So the earlier that we could start the fireworks, the better. So if the presentation of the game ball only took 15 seconds, we were going to start the punt, pass, and kick at 19:45. And if that only took 2 minutes, then the Portland State dancers would start right then. So you have to be a little bit of flexibility. You have to have a little bit of flexibility in there when thinking about this timesheet. So I hope that kind of gives you an understanding of the two pieces, a football checklist and then a timesheet of how the game is going to go. And now we will roll into a PA script. So a lot of people probably never even give any thought to the public address announcer when it comes to attending a game. We just listen to what he or she has to say that day, or maybe we even tune the person out. But a lot of people don't even know the work that goes into building a public address script. And for football at Portland State, it was about a 20-page document that the public address announcer ended up reading. And so every home game, you pretty much had a 20-page paper that you had to do. Now, a lot of the components were very similar, but when you had differing kickoff times and different sponsors for different games, there are a lot of different components that go into it. So first of all, you can see that this game was in 2007. It was against the Sacramento State Hornets, who beat Oregon State this year, by the way. Good. We don't like the Beavers. So the public address announcement, you can see there, says it begins at 5:25 p.m. At the first 20 minutes on the scoreboard. In the Big Sky Conference, for some reason, 40 minutes before kickoff, you put 20 minutes on the scoreboard and started the clock. And when that ran down to 0, you put another 20 minutes on the clock and ran that down to 0, and then it was kickoff time. So why you couldn't do 40 minutes and just count it down, I don't know. But you can see there that the public address announcer would start with the welcome, good evening, blah, 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 welcome your Portland State Vikings. And then he would read into today's game sponsor. So then the message board, you see message board, and then in red, whatever is in red is not read out loud. Whatever is in red is usually a prompt. It's sometimes a pronunciation. In this standpoint, it says what is supposed to be up on the message or video board. So as you go on, in the PA script, you see there were 20 minutes. This happens to be that second 20 minutes that I was talking about, countdown to kickoff. There's a program read, and on the message board, corresponding needs to go up with support Portland State Track and Field by a game day program. So up in the booth, you have a public address announcer. You have a marketing staff worker that's telling him, okay, it's time for each read. And then you're having the marketing staff person preparing the computer video board person with the slides and telling them when that needs to go up as well. So your person working up in the booth has to be well informed on the PA script, have knowledge of how a game is run from the marketing side, and be confident enough in his abilities to be able to direct both the video board worker and the PA announcer. So, PA announcer is running through the first announcement, and then there's a small pause, and they roll into inviting the fans to the Viking Sports Luncheon. That's also corresponding on the video board. And then finally, at the 18-minute mark, the Family Fun Zone announcement. And then in red, more directives, a musical interlude until 5:53 p.m. and fade the music before the beginning of the next PA read. The reason that that's important from a marketing perspective and creating a game atmosphere and managing an event is because if you just stop the music abruptly, all of a sudden, after it's been extremely loud, then there's this moment of silence and the crowd is kind of stunned a bit, and then the PA announcer starts talking. So what we started doing was just fading the music down to a very low level to where there was a little bit of background noise, and Kevin Flink would read the PA announcement, and as he finished, we would fade the music back up. So that's, again, one of those directives. And again, much like with the timesheets, I think you're getting the concept of a PA script. But then this would be the last slide that I'll touch on, and this is just counting down a little bit more. At 5:53, we start the university video, which corresponds with 12 minutes on the scoreboard, and that's, your team intro stuff. And then at 5:55, we've got the presentation of the colors. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that traditional rise sort of thing. But here's where we switch to the live camera down on the field, which, again, your guy in the booth needs to coordinate with the video board guy to say switch from messaging to live camera. And the cameraman down on the field has to correspond and have that ready to go as well. Otherwise, you've got a black screen or dead air. And so then the announcement rolls into please remain standing. And there you can see how Amber Granmo is pronounced, again, in red, so that the PA announcer knows not to read it out loud. And then some direction on the camera on the anthem singer. So this is just 3 short slides on the PA script. And so if you can think about it as a broader, larger concept of how that would tie in to the timesheets when I was talking about promotions being run on the field, the PA announcer is up in the booth knowing that the people down on the field and the contestants are going to be there because the timesheet said it was, so he can roll right into it's time for the Old Spaghetti Factory noodle race. Tonight's contestants are Jason and John, because the marketing staff has radioed that back up to the guy in the booth, and then Kevin, the PA announcer, has written them down on his sheet. So everything is almost seamless, and everybody knows what they're doing. But of course, you have problems from time to time. So just to recap, hope that gives you an understanding a little bit from running an event from the marketing side of the house, and then facility and event management from a risk management standpoint and maintenance standpoint. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. It's back up there on slide 2. If you want copies for you to have of what a PA script is, or a timesheet, or a checklist, I'd be happy to email them to you. I have them for all of the sports, football, basketball, softball, volleyball. You got PA scripts, something that you can end up familiarizing yourself with and set yourself apart when you go in on that job interview. So, hope you enjoyed this presentation, and best of luck to you in Dan Drain's class. He's a great professor. Thanks.